holy crap, Google Gemini is finally here. The man, the myth, the legend, it is finally true. It's not a rumor anymore. Google actually has a model called Gemini, and the model comes in 3 different sizes. And the model is absolutely going to blow your mind, but only catches the model is not open source. But despite all these things, I wanted to let you know what the model is capable of, and we are going to discuss every single thing that Google has announced as part of Gemini. Let's get started. The very first thing is, I'm glad that this model exists. This model is not a joke. This model is not a meme. This model is not a myth. This model is real, and it is their biggest, most capable AI model. And if you are looking for this is your headlines. Google Gemini Ultra is better than GPT-4. It is better than GPT-4 in every single way, starting from how it has been trained and final results, and which we are going to see very shortly. The first thing is Google Gemini is available for people to use in different forms. There are going to be 3 different models. There are going to be 3 different sizes of Google Gemini. The first one is Google Gemini Pro. The second one is Google Gemini Ultra, and the third one is Google Gemini Nano. So you have got Ultra, you have got Pro, you have got Nano. Ultra is their biggest, the most capable model. Pro is the model that they're going to deploy across web, and Nano is the model that can even run on your phone, even on Google 8 Pixel or Google Pixel 8 Pro. It's going to start with Google 8 Pixel Pro, so you can just flaunt that your Google 8 Pixel Pro runs the most advanced LLM on the planet. But anyways, Ultra is the one that is crushing GPT-4, and Pro is the one that you can use starting today on Google Bard, which we'll see shortly. Like, you can see a particular fine-tuned version of Gemini Pro on Google Bard. Okay, why am I hyping up so much? Like, why is this a big deal? I don't want to go through all these PR messages that they've got. One from Google CEO Sundar Pichai, the other one is from Demis Hassabis. But if we cut through all the PR and the kind of BS, Google Gemini is actually good. In fact, it is good because you can see that Google Gemini Ultra has scored 90% on MMLU, while the GPT-4 state-of-the-art 5-shot GPT-4 that was reported, that was 86.4. So this is the first model ever on this planet to outperform human experts on MMLU, massive multitask language understanding. I don't think Google might have trained on benchmark data, so that's something that to keep in mind. But despite all that, Gemini Ultra is more capable than GPT-4, and it is not just only on one benchmark. And we'll quickly see why that is the case. But meanwhile, if you see the benchmarks, Gemini Pro or Gemini Ultra, is much better than GPT-4 in a lot of benchmarks. If you take MMLU, Gemini Ultra has scored 90%, while GPT-4 Vision has scored 86.4%. If you take Big Bench Hard, Gemini Ultra is winning. If you take Drop, which is a reading comprehension one, Gemini Ultra is winning. Hella Swag, GPT-4 Vision is still winning. No, Gemini Pro is not winning. GSM 8K, which at this point I'm not going to trust a lot because there is a lot of leak. Gemini Ultra is winning. Math, if you see, Gemini Ultra is winning. Human Eval, which is a Python code generation, which also has got a lot of data leak, Gemini Ultra is winning. Natural to code, Gemini Ultra is winning. But Gemini Ultra is not known for only the text model. I think the biggest leap forward in Gemini Ultra is the multimodal capability. Before I show you all the benchmarks, I want to show you something very interesting. Gemini image benchmarks are pixel only, no assistance from OCR. What does it mean? Typically, when you have any web application where you have to read text, you may use OCR, optical character recognition, to recognize the text in that and then use that. But what Google is saying is that all the benchmarks here from Gemini image benchmarks are pixel only benchmarks and no assistance from OCR. So now if you take all the benchmarks, look at all the benchmarks. Images, Gemini Ultra is absolutely crushing GPT-4. 59.4 on MMMU, multidiscipline college level reasoning problems. And GPT-4 scored 56.8. Text VQA, OCR on natural images without OCR, without using Tesseract or any OCR. Gemini has scored 82.3 while GPT-4 has scored 70.0, and they have marked here it's a pixel only, not OCR. Now imagine what happens when you plug in OCR there. Math wisdom, mathematical reasoning and visual context, 53%. Infographic VQA, 80%, while GPT-4 Vision has scored only 75%. I mean, you might think that this is just a 5% difference, but at this level, take the law of large numbers. At this level, even 5% could be a huge improvement. On video, Gemini Ultra scored 62.7 on video captioning, while GPT-4 has scored only 56. Video question and answering, Gemini Ultra scored 54%. On audio, speech translation or ASR, automatic speech recognition and translation, Whisper, OpenAI's Whisper, has scored 29.1, the Whisper V2 model. And in this, the Whisper V3 model has scored automatic speech recognition based on this dataset, Fluors, for 62 languages. Whisper has scored 17.6, so lower is better because this is word error rate. And Gemini Pro has scored 7.6. This is not Gemini Ultra. This is Gemini Pro that can be on the browser also. It's completely crushing GPT-4 on almost every single aspect. Why is that so? Why do you think that Google managed to beat GPT-4? That's primarily because Google has built Gemini ground up from multimodality. They did not take a text model and then fine-tune them on multimodality. They rather built a multimodal model very first. Like starting with the first one, they built a multimodal model. So the standard approach until now has been training like separate components for different modalities, even though we call it multimodal, and then finally stitching them together. But what Google has done is they've designed Gemini to be natively multimodal, pre-trained from the start on different modalities. Then they fine-tuned it with additional multimodal data to further refine its effectiveness. I'm not sure how open source community would replicate this, but unlike Lava, unlike all the other open source multimodal models, this is not a separate text model and image model. This is rather trained starting from multimodality, and that is what Google is saying is making the huge difference in terms of how Gemini Ultra, Gemini Pro, and Gemini Nano are performing. That also gives very strange abilities to Gemini that we have not seen before, or at least we have seen on GPT-4, but this is probably going to take it next level. Like the lot of things, like sophisticated reasoning is what they're calling us. It has a remarkable ability, they're saying, that to extract insights from hundreds and hundreds of documents, reading through the documents. You can see the demo here. That also means Gemini can unlock new scientific insights. I'm not sure like how good those scientific insights could be, but it is pretty much possible. That's what Google is saying. It can understand text, images, audios, and more. That means it can have better understanding of math and physics because it has got all the objects. It has advanced coding abilities, like it can code in Python, Java, C++, Go, and it has code much better on human eval, which I'm not going to trust at all. The very interesting aspect of this particular segment about advanced coding is that Google has created a new model called AlphaCode 2. Previously, they had AlphaCode, which scored one of the top position in programming competition. I think on Top Coder or something, it scored really good. Now with AlphaCode 2, it can solve competitive programs or like problems, and that can involve complex math and theoretical computer science. That means probably one of your theoretical computer science concepts could be implemented by AlphaCode 2, and that is also available for you to read here. And in fact, like AlphaCode 2 has shown massive improvements, and it performs better than 85% of competition participants, while AlphaCode had performed only 50% more better than competition participants. That means AlphaCode 2 could be better than 85% of human beings who participate in competitive programming. Huge. That is huge. And they have trained it on TPU. It runs well on TPU. I don't want to read about responsibility and safety. And then, like I said, the Gemini Pro is available on Bard for you to use. Gemini Nano is going to come to Pixel in form of Summarizer and Smart Reply. And Gemini is going to come to Google Vertex and also part of Google AI Studio, which they're calling as a free web-based developer tool, which I've not yet, ever tried before. So I'm now probably going to look forward to try it. And for Android developers, Gemini Nano is going to be available via something that they're calling as AI Core, and everything happens on device. This sounds very similar like what Apple is trying to do in this space. So Gemini Ultra is not yet available, but it is going to come soon for people to use it. So it's seems like actually enabling a future of innovation. I think the only catch here is that I guess I'm not sure like how well open source community can catch up, but this seems like huge deal. Like I absolutely love whatever they've done, except that this model is not available as open source. You need to sign up for GCP to use it within Vertex AI. I think that is going to be a bottleneck for a lot of people. But by launching one of the best models in the world, or I should say the very best model in the world at this time, at the time of us speaking, which can create new scientific insights, which can actually implement theoretical paper and computer science, which is better than 85% of competitive coders in the world, or at least in the competition, which is ground up multimodal model. I think they've really crushed it. Like I think all the hype is absolutely worth, and now I think it is up to them to see how they take it to last mile and enable the developers. Before I close the video, I want to make a very quick demo about how it looks on Bard. So there is a question that I asked ChatGPT. There is a train departing at 3 p.m. It traveled for 6 hours and then magically hit a time travel portal that sent it back 2 hours for every hour it traveled and then stopped. What time is it when it stops? I don't want to solve it here, but ChatGPT could not answer it. In fact, ChatGPT decided to use the GPT code interpreter, and then it's finally said there is an error generating response. The same question, when I put it on Google Gemini Pro powered Bard, it actually starts. Okay, here is how I'm going to determine. Start time 3 p.m. Travel time 6 hours. What is it affected? And then finally it comes at the final answer, which says 9 p.m. I think this is a testament of how good Gemini Pro or Gemini family of models are. I'm going to do an extensive comparison between ChatGPT and Gemini Pro, given that this is available on Google Bard. But still, it is a shame that it is not going to be available as an API for a lot of these developers, because you have to use GCP. I think this is the way that they are trying to make people use GCP, while Microsoft Azure has taken much versatile open approach in terms of using any model. So I'm curious to see if Google is going to change that approach, or they're going to stick to the same approach by luring developers into the most capable most capable AI model that is multimodal from every sense. But either ways, I'm definitely looking forward to see what Gemini can do. I'm definitely looking forward to see how the open source community is going to actually replicate this. I'm going to make more videos on Gemini Pro. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, and also let me know what you think about it. Like, this is not a myth anymore. I think it actually makes me really happy to see that Google has some innovation on this space, and ChatGPT is not going to be the only monopoly in this LLM, advanced LLM foundation frontier model. See you in another video. Happy prompting.